Good morning. Welcome to the May meeting. My volume is incredibly good. I sound like I am AI generated. But I'm not. I'm real. I'm really sitting here. I'm not a computer or a robot. All right. That's all right.
Test, test.
Take this one. That was awkward. We'll see if that's any better. All right. Well, regardless, welcome. I'm really happy to have everybody here. Man, I like seeing all these chairs filled all the way around the room. So, welcome to all of our new members. If you have not had a chance to meet the new members, I would encourage you to stick around a few minutes. All right, now we're trying karaoke, and I'll sing the meeting. Uh, Regardless, really happy to have you. Raise your hand if you're a new board member. Join us for the first meeting today. Excellent. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And current board members, please make them feel welcome and thank them for their participation. Today, we're going to hear uh, a lot of presentations, and the one uh, thread you're going to see going through all these presentations is about how we're aligning the different systems. We're comprised of several different departments, and a lot of different departments in the state have a very vested interest in the workforce. And in those presentations you're going to hear today, you'll hear more about how we're trying to align these systems together and expand our partnerships. So we're excited about that. One of them is going to be from the Tennessee Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and then we'll also hear from the unemployment insurance staff and the work that they're doing. Okay, what else? Speaking of AI in my awesome sounding voice, um, at the last meeting, if you recall, Joe Baker made a request about AI data, and we had a lot of affirmation from the board that we want to hear more about that. So the Department of Labor and Workforce Development is working with several partners who they're already doing similar data collection, and they're going to continue to follow up with this board. So the good news is that a lot of that work is already being done. We should look forward to hearing more about that work in future meetings. So just wanted to let you know that that request was not um, brushed over. They are working on that, and we'll hear more from that in the future. And then just earlier this month, we submitted our letter in our funding position statement letter to our legislators in Congress. A lot of you had a chance to review that before we sent it out, so thank you for your input and taking the time to look through that. We had a lot of good input and sent that accordingly. Let's see what else. You're going to be receiving, all the board members are going to be receiving a Tennessee Works Advocacy one pager. And maybe Commissioner can tell us a little bit about what that is when she speaks to us in just a couple of minutes. But that's being developed in coordination with the Tennessee Works Hub partners, and we'll get that issued in a couple of weeks. And then on your calendars, I know it's still a couple months away, but save that date before our next meeting. It'll be Thursday, August 21st. It's the day right before our August 22nd meeting. We would like to have another strategic planning session if we can. And if you're able to participate in that, I'd love you to get that on your calendar now. So just write that down and see if you can't block that out for a strategy meeting ahead of our next board meeting in August. When you talk today, I was going to make sure you hit that green button in front of you so we can hear you. And I'm anxious to hear what everybody else sounds like when they talk into their microphones. We do broadcast this on YouTube as a public event, so other people can participate and listen. And so it's important that you have that microphone on so that it comes through. And if you are new, or even if you are returning and you don't have one of these swanky state workforce development pins, make sure you see Amy, and Amy will make sure you get one of them. And then also make sure that you wear it. And that way I can recognize who's on the board. There's so many faces, and I want to make sure that I remember who's here. You might want to just keep it in your bag, because I had to actually turn around in my driveway and go get it mine before, as I was leaving. I had to make another loop around to remember it. But I will try to remember it every time. But it helps us know who you are. All right, anything else? Thanks. Okay, I think we're ready for a roll call. Eiler?
Good morning. As I call your name, please use the microphone to confirm your attendance audibly. If you are a member of a local workforce development board, please state the local board. If you are representing by proxy and your name is not called, please state your name for the record. Jackie Akbari. Here. Natalie Alvarez.
Present.
Martha Axford.
Present.
Brandy Lassiter for State Senator Paul Bailey. Assistant Commissioner Jay Baker.
Present.
Jason Schmidt, proxy for Joe Baker.
Present.
Jason Bates.
Present.
Tim Berry.
Here.
Linda Botch.
Present.
State Representative Clark Boyd. Suzanne Carr, designee for Commissioner Carter.
Present.
Billy Dykes.
Here.
Martha Axford, proxy for Michelle Falcone.
Here.
Ben Ferguson. Max Goldberg.
Present.
Marshall Graves.
Present, member of the Southeast Board.
J. Paul Jackson.
Present.
David Jordan.
Present.
Mayor Tim Kelly.
Present.
Chrissy Freeland, proxy for Policy Director and Governor's designee, Michael Hendricks.
Present.
Jackie Akbari, proxy for Sandra Long. Present. Director Jenny McCabe for Commissioner McWhorter. Mayor Mike Pogriba.
Present. Northern Middle.
Stuart Price.
Present.
Assistant Commissioner Deborah Knoll for designee for Commissioner Reynolds.
Present.
Jason Schmidt.
Present.
Lee Sloan.
Present.
David Stansel.
Present.
Commissioner Denise Thomas.
Present.
Will Trum.
Present.
Jeff Vance.
Present.
Ron Wade.
Present. Greater Memphis.
Assistant Commissioner Kevin Wright.
Present.
As a reminder, for any votes during this meeting, you must recuse yourself if there's a conflict of interest. Chairman Berry, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And next, we're going to ask for approval of the minutes from the last meeting. We normally would do this in a consent agenda, but since this is the only line item for that, we can ask specifically about the minutes. So if hopefully everyone had a chance to review those, and I'll ask for a motion to approve if no one has any questions about that.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion.
Thank you. And a second? Thank you, Martha. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
And none opposed. Okay, the minutes have been approved as presented. Commissioner, give us an update on workforce systems.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. To all of our board members, thank you. It's so amazing to see all of you around the table this morning. A couple of updates that really go beyond the department, but are more related to our system. As Chairman Berry alluded to in his comments, the funding position statement that you all lent your voice to, that was submitted to our federal delegation, that has been done, but we also got our first glimpse early last week of the federal budget, which has been termed the skinny budget. Unfortunately, the projected cuts for the Department of Labor at the federal level was approximately 35%. We know that there's a lot of work to be done. There's still house markups. There's still a lot of conversation to be had. Um, I was able to listen to the Secretary of Labor's testimony yesterday afternoon to get a little bit of a glimpse on where things are leading. Within that 35% cut, it was noted in the budget that the program that specifically helps our senior adults, the Senior Community Employment Service Program, would be cut. Job Corps would be cut. There will also be some additional potential cuts to things like youth. Again, this is a very fluid matter, but really wanted to make the board aware of that we have been informed, we have been in conversation through our associations. We've also had some congressional conversations. We think we'll be asked to testify at some point about what sort of these retroactive changes will have to systems such as Tennessee. I will say this, although that's not the most exciting news to deliver this morning, we certainly are not going to just simply rest on our laurels and let things happen. One of the ways we think that we can continue to be creative and innovative and ensure that we keep our Tennessee public workforce system moving forward is to continue to look for ways to be flexible and adaptable. And so with that, we will be putting more information in front of this board in weeks to come. But we are preparing a package that will include several waivers that we will submit to our federal partners. And what that will do is hopefully give us the opportunity to use more of existing funding streams so we're not so dependent on one thing. As many of you know, especially our board members that have been around for some time, the money can be very, very siloed in what it can be used for. We believe that there's additional the additional flexibilities allow us to make determinations on the different sources of dollars that can help advance our agenda. As you know, a lot of programs as well, specifically those that were attached to specific groups, were part of the DEI legislation that was rolled back. From our posture here at the department, all of our programs around workforce and economic development have always been about the people. And so it's never been about letters or alphabet soup. It's been about advancing Tennessee's workforce. And so we are in a position to continue to do that, and we will make sure that the board is aware of all of our efforts. The way the waivers will go is we draft those. They're placed for public comment, of which the board will also be able to add comment to that as well. And then we work with our federal partners on approvals. Typically, we have not been able to submit waivers in the past except during planning cycles. We have received permission to be able to do that without having to wait for a planning cycle, which is good news. So we will certainly keep you posted. I think secondary to that is the work that's happening at the department overall around Tennessee Works that you continue to hear a lot about is an incredible, incredible effort that our governor has led the way on, which really brings together not just the state agencies that are doing this work, but it also leaves space and room for all of our partners that are doing this, everything from community-based organizations to chambers to employers. So we're so excited about that. We continue to work toward an official launch of Tennessee Works. There have been so many meetings and conversations, and it's just really, really fun, exhausting, but fun to see how all of us are really aligned on how we're trying to make Tennessee a place that is number one in the country for talent sourcing and also for global competitiveness. And so we continue to do that work. And so as Chairman mentioned around the advocacy one-pager, it's because the Tennessee Works vernacular needs to be common to all of us in this room because it's something that we all champion. So we want to make sure that we give you the tools that you know exactly what it is we're doing and what the anticipated outcomes of Tennessee Works will be. Again, we were so excited to receive state funding to support some of those initiatives. I know some of that was talked about in committee, so stay tuned for that work. We are so excited and so fortunate to have a board of this caliber really helping to lead the work. And so we will, as we make these really formative steps, we will make sure that you are apprised on that as we move forward. And so just wanted you to kind of know about the federal budget. Although things look bleak, we are still going to continue to make sure that our voices are heard, both at the federal level and any other opportunity we get to talk about the work we're doing in Tennessee. But we are going to make sure that we can continue to pull the levers that we feel are going to be instrumental to what we're doing. I think on the bright side, and lastly, I'll say one of the things that we are not seeing a shrinkage in is the focus on apprenticeship. And as you know, our state has done and continues to do a really great job with apprenticeship. And our state apprenticeship director, Shalandra Shaw, who's in the audience, continues to lead those efforts for us here in the state. We do know with the president's executive order, they're looking to get to 1 million apprentices across the country. And Tennessee wants to make sure that we can plant our flag in efforts to do that as well. So we will be going all in on apprenticeships and helping to craft what that looks like in weeks to come, specifically around policies, incentives, and how we continue to leverage the work that's going on with business and industry. So that's where we are. There have been so many changes, as you can imagine, with workforce development. Each day there's a new shift, there is a new change. Everything as we know it has changed, but we're not going to let that stop us. We do recognize that all of this is being done to have streamlined efficiency and effectiveness, both of the dollars and the practice. And we believe Tennessee is poised to be able to be an example of that across the country. So our teams are absolutely locked in. We are glued almost to our email because we get a different one. It seems like every few minutes. And I'm sure our other state agency partners in education and human services can attest to that as well. And so we just want to make sure that we're keeping you up to date. And I'm happy to answer any questions at any time, even beyond just our state workforce board meetings. But those are our updates, and I look forward to continuing to work with each of you. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, I think we are ready for our first presentation. So please welcome Josh Brown, and going to tell us about our expanded partnerships and system alignment, connecting industry and workforce.
Good morning, everyone. Well, thank you, first of all, for the opportunity. Commissioner, thank you for the invitation. See a few familiar faces around the room. So let me just give you a couple of seconds about myself and how I got into this role. So I'm a native Tennessean, lifelong Tennessean, have worked in various roles throughout my career, starting off in the governor's office about 30 years ago. And I like to say when I came into this role back in December, where our office is situated, I'm looking out at the Capitol, and it was this full circle moment for me where I'm looking at the building that I first worked in 30 years ago, right out of college. So in a way, for me, this is coming back to a place of being able to really contribute to our state and hopefully add to some of the great things that this administration and previous administrations have built. The Tennessee Chamber, in my mind, is really about, I call it the 3 C's. It's a little trite, but it's connecting, convening, and collaborating. And really, when you think about what a statewide business organization should do, it certainly should advocate for Tennessee being a strong place to do business, having a great economic climate, great pro-business policies. But there's ways that you do that make you more effective. And one of the things I think about when I talk to our staff is we're a connector. Because we're a statewide organization, we can connect our members, we can connect other stakeholders together to have conversations that are really important about what it's going to take to make Tennessee continue to be a place where companies want to come and build their businesses, where companies who are here want to grow. So we're connecting and people and helping them learn about each other, learn best practices, learn what's working, what's not working. Then convening important conversations. My phrase with our team is lead the conversation. I want us as a statewide organization to lead the conversation on important issues. So, and that could be anything. That could be solid waste. That could be energy. That could be housing. Certainly workforce. But I want us to be part of leading the conversation on these important topics, and then collaborating. And that's really part of what I want to talk about today mostly is collaborating in partnerships, because nothing that we do ever gets done by ourselves. And I see us kind of being part of this network of partnerships. And, I had the good fortune a few months ago to sit down with the commissioner and just get to know her and talk about kind of my vision for the chamber. And really for me, it's a lot of it, most of it, in fact, is about collaboration. It's about partnerships. What can we do as a chamber to sit down with other stakeholders, have those important conversations? What resources can we bring to the table to leverage, again, good work that's already being done? So much of this is not going out and creating things necessarily. It's finding those things that are already working and trying to make them better. Bringing whatever resources and expertise we can to the table. But I think about when Tennessee is such a great place to do business, there's a reason for that. If we're out there selling that message and talking about that to our members and prospective members, and we're trying to make Tennessee, we're trying to talk to policymakers about why it's important to have good public policy around business. We're not doing that in a vacuum. I think of all these state partners who are around us, working with us, and none of this happens without these state agencies. And certainly we've talked about the many initiatives that are going on within the workforce area that are more targeted, that are more specific towards the things that we're trying to do to help bring, upskill these workers, the things that we're trying to do to make sure that the workers of today are prepared for and trained for the jobs, not only that we have now, but the jobs that are coming. So, again, when you talk about workforce development, it means a lot of things to a lot of people, but, in our mind, when we talk to our companies, and we have members who are multinational companies, large companies, all the way down to your small 20-person, 25-person manufacturing operation in a rural community. So it runs the gamut, and everybody has different needs. Everybody has different things that matter to them, but the one thing in common is they want workers who are ready. And workers who are prepared. So, we talk about these partnerships, whether it be with labor and workforce development or with education. And I think of education, it's not just the Department of Education per se, but it's higher ed, it's K through 12, it's the TCATs, it's the community colleges. It's all of them have a role to play in that, because we're getting so specific now about the types of skills that we need, and demands are different than they used to be. But when I thought about three things that really this department has a hand in, that we've talked about in different ways already in my short tenure, are things that we want to really focus on and try to bring our strength and our resources to bear to try to support and enhance. And one of those is enhancing access to data. The dashboard. When I first heard about this concept, I thought it makes total sense, because if you're a company out in the Tri-Cities area or in Memphis or anywhere in the state, access to information is really important. And so this whole effort to try to build this dashboard and try to make that more readily available, I think, is really important. Micro-credentialing, it's kind of a word that I don't know that I'd even really heard much before I came into this role. But as I've learned more and more about it and talking to our companies, it's really significant when you think about the speed with which someone can get a certificate, the speed with which someone can get training and be ready to go into a job, the efficiency of that, the cost effectiveness of that, really significant. So we're trying to, again, bring a voice to help support those efforts as well. And then the labor market intelligence. This whole thing about companies saying we want to know more, it's a two-way street. And I've tried to tell our members that means that you as businesses have to also supply information to the state. You also have to be telling us, what jobs do you have available? What needs do you have? The state needs to know that. So it's not just the state telling you, here's the latest trends in the data, here's the latest information we have for you. You've got to supply information back, because that benefits not only the state and its efforts to enhance its programming, but it also benefits, frankly, the other employers across the state as well. And it's a direct line of communication to the education community to say, okay, if you're in K-12, And you can do things like some of these school districts are doing across the state with innovation centers and innovation hubs where they're trying to get these students into learning a skill and a trade while they're in high school and going right into the workforce potentially. Those K through 12 institutions, those school districts need to know about what your needs are. Community colleges, technical schools need to know about what your needs are. So that labor market intelligence is a two-way street, and that information flow is really important both ways. This is an example of a project that is a real tangible, I think, example of what a public-private partnership can look like. This is the Be Pro, Be Proud. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this, but this was started in Arkansas several years ago, and now several states are doing this. But it's essentially a program that is privately funded and also receives, in some cases, public funds, where essentially, this is going to be an oversimplification of it, but a trailer, an 18-wheeler, is outfitted with different simulators and training opportunities for students. It goes to a high school, it parks outside the high school, and students from that high school get to come out, walk through the trailer, and get to experience different simulations of different skills and trades that they potentially could learn about. And it opens them up to these opportunities that maybe they weren't aware of. But again, it's about thinking through how are we trying to expose these students at a younger age to the different skills and opportunities that are out there. And really what it's designed to do is to be focusing on trades and skills that are available in Tennessee, in our state right now. It's not a hypothetical. It's, if you're a particular company, you're in there talking about, we have needs for workers to do X, Y, Z, come talk to us about this. So it's really trying to be a practical, tangible way to get these kids, raise their awareness level about the opportunities that are out there for them if they're not going to choose potentially a traditional education for your education path, which, as we know, more and more students are seeking to do. So I think if I had to communicate one thing, and I'm happy to take questions if there's time for that, but if I had to communicate one thing, it would be Tennessee is a great place to do business. I came into this role, and maybe one of the things I was most excited about, having been in Tennessee my whole life, is knowing about the great work that this governor and other governors have done, thinking, how can I lend my voice to this? But it's an exciting opportunity to say, let's not get complacent. We've got a good thing going here in Tennessee, but the easy thing to say is, we have low taxes, we have low debt, we have light regulations, we're a great place to work, we have all these jobs being created. Let's sit back and sort of look at all that and, kind of smile. It's easy to get complacent because every state's looking at us and saying, what are they doing? We want to do that too. And they're trying to be competitive with us. And so we've got to stay sharp. And, I was listening to the commissioner's comments when I came in about all the different things that the department's trying to take advantage of with federal funding and with all the change that's happening there and the uncertainty that's happening there. We've got to be flexible. We're hearing that from the business community too. When you talk about tariffs, you talk about, the uncertainty of what's going to happen with the tax bill. Companies are sitting there kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. And maybe they're holding off on some of their investment decisions because of that. So things aren't always, on the upswing. Sometimes people have to take a pause and say, okay, let's figure this out. So all the more reason why we stay on our toes, while we stay out there communicating these messages about being ready and being prepared for when the opportunities come. So I'm thrilled about being in this role. I'm thrilled about getting to work with Commissioner and others on her team and others in state government because, again, I think the opportunities are endless, but the key is that we do it together. The key is that we put our heads together and talk about partnerships and being strategic and not trying to go it alone. So thank you again for letting me come. Happy to have a dialogue or answer any questions if anyone has them, and certainly afterwards I'll be available for calls or emails, or I'm always available. So any questions or discussion?
Very good. Questions for Josh?
Josh, thank you so much for your presentation. I kind of wanted to just share with everyone is, as we talk about Tennessee Works and what we're really trying to do to galvanize the state in one direction, Our opportunity here in Tennessee is to strengthen our collaboration. We're all trying to get so much of the same work done, but if we're being honest, it's been fragmented over the years. And so, what I really appreciated about really talking with Josh is how much of this was a shared sort of visioning on what we need to get done. And so, this is not about one person getting the credit. We absolutely cannot do this alone. It's about creating a space where everyone who's doing like work comes to the table, and through their own ideas, resources, and expertise, we make for a better Tennessee. So businesses don't feel like they have to talk to 5 or 10 different people to get one result. And so I just really want to publicly thank you, Josh, for the posture that the Tennessee Chamber has in really being a really good partner. Thank you for allowing us to be a partner with Be Pro, Be Proud, which is just an amazing, amazing opportunity. And I hope that our board, those members that are not familiar, get an opportunity to see it in person and the work that's being done. So I just really wanted to help the board understand how significant this is to really have the chamber on as a partner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions or comments for Josh? Yes, please, Jackie.
Thank you so much for your presentation, and your role working with businesses is very critical with workforce development. Is there a specific area or skill that you're hearing back from businesses that in terms of skills or challenges that they're facing that we as a board may need to know about as we move forward in developing innovative programming?
Yeah, it's not, what I'm going to say is not necessarily a specific skill, but it's an area, and that's advanced manufacturing. We have now done 2 manufacturing forums. We've done one here in Nashville. We did one in Jackson 2 weeks ago, where we brought together manufacturers from that region and some cases across the state to talk about the state of manufacturing in Tennessee. As you know, the policy side of that is that there's some uncertainty about some of the tax credits that are potentially on the table in Washington relative to electric vehicles, for example. And so some of these companies, I'll just name a couple of them, LG Chem in Clarksville, which is making a $3+ billion investment in a cathode facility. I was just there on Monday and got to drive around that site and see the great progress they're making. Ford, Blue Oval City, the partnership that we all know about there, $5+ billion investment in West Tennessee. But both of those conversations talked about the specific high-tech advanced manufacturing that both of those plants require, and that they are certainly seeing a little bit of a pinch when it comes to recruiting. I mean, they're not producing anything yet in those facilities, so they've still got time. But their concern is, pipeline. Their concern is the availability of the talent and the skills. So they're working really closely with the TCATs, with the community colleges, with the high schools, frankly, to make sure they're connected on that and that they're communicating about that. But that is the area that I've heard the most where there's the concern, and we're seeing such a high growth in those type of jobs in our state, which is a good thing. I think if there's any concern at all, it's that we may have a gap there that we need to fill to be filling those jobs.
Thank you.
Good. Josh, thank you.
Of course. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Reach out if I can ever be of help.
Okay. All right, next, let's hear from our friends at Unemployment Insurance and get updates on the tax project.
Good morning. I'm Chris Russ, the Deputy Assistant Commissioner for Unemployment Insurance. I want to give you a quick update on our projects that we have going on in UI. First, I want to give you a quick history of where we've been. Phase 1 of our project of modernization was February of 2020. This enabled us to gain some good efficiencies within our systems. It has allowed us to meet our first pay timeliness metric. We're going on right now, keep our fingers crossed, for the 9th month in a row. We were able to do that at the 2nd month in May. We went live in February, and in May of 2024, we were able to meet that metric. Also, another metric we call benefit timeliness and quality. The agency hasn't met this metric in about 12 years, and we've now met this metric for 3 consecutive quarters, we just found out. So there's some great things going on in the UI division with our efficiencies. Now, moving into our tax modernization. Our current system has a 40-year-old mainframe system that we're working off of. Not highly efficient, it's paper-driven, has a lot of manual processes. So we're looking in the next few weeks to upgrade that system to gain more efficiencies and more processes. I'm going to turn it over to Charles Jansen, our director, over our Office of Transformation. Office of Transformation. Let him go over the efficiencies that we will be gaining with our new system. And just so y'all know, this picture sums up what we're dealing with right now, the paper and the mainframe system. So we're glad to be moving on to a new process.
Yeah, my name is Charles Jansen, the director of the Office of Transformation here at the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. And as he said, this is kind of where we are, but where we're going is quite a bit different, and we're really excited about the new offering that we're going to have here very shortly for our UI, unemployment insurance tax division. And so what I'm going to do is kind of go over some of these benefits of this new system, which we've been working on since the new UI benefit system went live, and kind of just highlight some of these things that we're looking forward to, which this is rolling off of the what Chris was just talking about. These metrics that are now being met. We're looking for similar kinds of results with our tax system. And so as the introductory slide kind of alluded to, this is an integrated system. Right now, our UI tax system is really a suite of a variety of systems and databases. And this will now be one unified system, one central repository, one system of record for all of our tax data. And it's not only going to be integrated with itself with all of the tax data, but it's also going to be integrated with our UI benefits system as well, because they're built on the same platform. And as I was just mentioning, all the data will be in one place, and that's going to be a boon not just for us as we get to pull metrics, KPIs, do all sorts of tracking as things become more and more data-driven, but it's also going to be a benefit for the users, which are the employers, the third-party administrators, TPAs, or the professional employer organizations, the PEOs, where they're going to be able to see their data in one place in real time. They're going to have access to that as opposed to submitting forms or calling in trying to get access to their information. And then also, as Chris was talking about earlier, this is going to greatly reduce our manual efforts, as opposed to moving papers around, as opposed to punching in codes. Everything's going to be largely automated, and it's going to be at the user's fingertips to kind of work through this and access their data and move through these processes of submitting payments and filing. And so it's going to save us a lot of time, but it's also going to save the users, the employers, and TPAs a lot of time as well. And so this is obviously going to enhance their customer experience. The system is, it's going to feel rather familiar if you're used to these online systems, and navigation is very simple. It's well laid out. The information, again, is at your fingertips, and everything is largely automated. And again, that frees us up on our side for our teams to then provide greater customer service and support where needed, as opposed to taking care of some of these more, kind of repetitive functionalities. And then, as we're dealing with data, we're dealing with employers. Security is obviously going to be of a primary concern, and so there is built-in fraud detection and confidentiality. And so this is a very, very secure, very accessible, very user-friendly system. And in addition to that, it's also developed in a way in which we can make enhancements, we can upgrade, and we can kind of pivot if there is any changes to any legislation or technology advancements. We can easily make those changes with this new system. And so at the end of the day, we're really excited about what's coming, especially with where we are right now. This is a large advancement. This is quite a modernization. As Chris said, this is over 40 years in the making, and I'm really excited because it's going to be not just a win for us, but it's going to be a win for our employers in the state and our third-party administrators. And so the next question is, when is this going to take place? It's just a few days away. Our go-live date is May 27th, and that is the Tuesday immediately following Memorial Day. So we are just days away of launching this. Again, very excited for everyone who's going to be able to partake in this new system. And here we have a slide of what we call the modernization page. This is kind of an interim page that is providing some information about the new system for anybody who's currently looking for this, maybe clicking on throughout our website, looking for the prior links. They're going to take you to this page, and this provides some great information in terms of some of these benefits that I've discussed, as well as some other links and some links to some webinars that we held just recently. And we've also done other consistent communications through demonstrations, through emails, through web banners. We've been very consistent with making sure that everybody is aware of where we are in this process and what they can expect and when they can expect this. And this is going to be the portal. We call this e-services. This is where employers are going to log in and begin their new journey with us in this modernized product. And what's great is that even now, we've been encouraging employers and TPAs to go ahead and register. You can register your company now. There's that link underneath the login there. And so they can be ready. They can be ahead of the game for when we launch on May 27th. And I think then I'll turn it over to Chris to kind of close us out here.
Just want to thank you all for the time and appreciate y'all taking the time to let us present this to y'all today. We're really, as Charles said, we're really excited about this. The first phase went really well, and we're hoping to continue that with this second phase. Do we have any questions, please?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Please, Natalie.
Will you be tracking customer satisfaction as a result of the rollout for this portal, and how are we going to be measuring success and if this new implementations are working?
Yes, we will be tracking that. We'll be tracking that through our system. We have another system we can also track through our Zendesk system that will also track customer tickets that come in, and they will be able to give us a satisfaction rating of how we're doing. We'll be able to pull reports within the new system. We have it's called e-services, a communication system that we have within the system that will enable us to see the responses from employers, how things are going, and enable us to find any issues or fix anything along the line that we need to do as quickly as possible.
Good. Thank you for the good question, Natalie. It was similar to where I was headed. If you've been around this board at all, you know we want to know what story you can tell through the reports. We don't want to just see the reports. We want to know what story those KPIs tell. So it sounds like
yes, sir.
You've got the right. It sounds like you've got the right focus on how's it serving the people, and here's the metrics that we're showing to back that up.
Yes, sir. That's our goal. Our goal is to once we go live, to continue to look at our processes. Take the feedback that we get and continue to improve those processes throughout the system. So we're not just going to put it in and go, here it is. You know, we want to get it, and we want to take it And like we have with our benefit system right now, we're trying to, improve upon recommendations that we have and take that system and this new tax system, and we'll do the exact same thing, is look at it and build upon the go live and continue to improve and try to get it as efficient as we can.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think it's important to kind of understand the why in this. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. We're getting off a 40-year-old mainframe system and coming to the modern century. It's taken some time, but benefits was great. We anticipate the same for tax, but why does this really matter as we're talking about for the Workforce Board? It's very hard for us because we deal with businesses both on a compliance side and on the workforce development side. If we have ticked off every employer in the state because we can't give them a reporting number or take care of their tax needs, it's hard to then come to them with solutions on workforce. So we've really been thinking about holistically, how do we better serve employers? And this is response to a lot of pain points, both on our staff side and what we've heard back from employers. A lot of TPAs and employers were involved in the testing because that's been our new posture, is before we put something together, we want employers kind of, try to rip it apart, tell us what you really think. So this is sort of a new posture that we're taking. The last thing I'll just say is that a lot of our really great data around labor market analysis comes from our wage and tax data. So the more sophisticated we are in collection of data here, the better we can provide labor market analysis back to you, because we have a better idea of exactly what the codes are, exactly who's getting paid in what sector, and how, those types of things. So all of this is a larger piece of how we're improving the information gathering we're getting from employers so that we can then produce better reports. As I've said before, we're looking to get down to job level data. That's the goal we want to be able to get to. And so all of this, although functioning as an e-services portal on the front end, on the back side, there's a lot of intelligence that's coming on the end of that. We'll be able to come back and produce both to the board, not just on sort of customer experience and efficiency, but also on some of the market intelligence as well. So I just wanted to make sure I tied up that loose end.
Very good. Other questions or comments? Well, congratulations. I know it's been a long time coming, and I know you're very excited for the launch.
We are.
And
Very much so.
wish you all the best.
Our employer accounts unit is very excited about this. Yes.
Well, we're anxious to see the results. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we are ahead of schedule, so I'm going to push through the break, and we're going to move on to committee updates. Let's move on, and so let's start with the Oversight Committee that met earlier. Who's reporting for Oversight?
Me today.
Hi, how are you, Martha? Very good. Tell us what was happening in your committee earlier today.
I will have to compliment our staff support team for organizing us today, which was very beneficial since Michelle's not with us. Brian went over our financials and talked about workforce development investment from the state that has been vital in offsetting federal declination of funding levels and expenditures expected to remain consistent from prior year as a result of state investment. Greater focus on Wagner-Pfizer enrollments and staff training has yielded increased participation in the program. Modernizing the American Job Center system to reduce brick and mortar footprint in favor of staff outreach and meeting people where they are. The Department of Labor is expected to receive approximately $18 million in new state appropriations for micro-credentialing, youth employment, and strategic support activities. The department also continues to explore available federal discretionary awards and have applied for a $5.9 million apprenticeship grant, and we haven't heard back if we're going to get that or not, but we should at some time. Then we moved on to VR and where we are, and Julie did a great job presenting the VR information. And we had interim information meeting we had an interim meeting with the Oversight Committee to discuss ER and some of the VR and some of the things that we are wanting to see with their data, because it's hard, because each VR client is a different needs assessment, so it's hard to consolidate their data. And we are preparing for youth work in the VR, the 3 areas that we're focused on. Preparing for youth for work, starting clients on the path towards employment, and helping clients meet their employment goals. Quarterly program and performance event and data were shared. Current challenges and opportunities were discussed. And we also are going to have another subcommittee meeting virtually in July to see what we need to discuss as a next step. And that concludes my report. Any questions?
Very good. Thank you for
Thank
that
you.
subcommittee meeting. I know that appreciate the extra work you guys will do to focus on that. Okay, next is the Operations Committee. Stuart?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Operations Committee met this morning, and first of all, likewise, would like to thank our staff for supporting us so well, and certainly Jeremy and Rebecca. And we opened up in a review of our charter to discuss what all we are truly and fully responsible for, and it's pretty wide and broad. And so I wanted to make sure that as a committee, we are set up to fulfill those key responsibilities. And so we had some discussion and good, robust discussion around how we go about doing that well, and both how we stay informed and in our key responsibilities, but also how we speak into them as well. And so we've got some room to evolve there for sure, but this first step is a commitment to get the committee information and updates on each of the key responsibilities and how we're performing in those. And so I'm excited about what's coming in the future for the committee. First of all, we also have new people on the committee. I'm excited about that. I feel very strongly about the committee and what it's capable of. So that was a good discussion we had, and just want to thank the people that are involved in sort of the restructuring process. I know a lot of thought and intent has gone into that, and certainly we are committed to making it successful. We also received some updates. The Tennessee Youth Employment Program, let's see, Deputy Commissioner Buddy Hoskinson presented to us. And so the purpose of this program is to link young adults with employers, and that it targets 14 to 24-year-olds. There's an emphasis in the presentation that this is not a summer program. It's a year-round program where the participants have the potential to earn up to $4,000. In 2024, there were 4,800 enrolled in the program with 1,200 employers. The goal for 25 is 8,000 enrolled in the program, and it's targeting manufacturing, childcare, healthcare, construction. The list goes on and on and on. If you have interest in seeing something with a little more detail, go to yeptn.com. And you can explore the full breadth of the program. Our second update was the Apprenticeship Council update. If you all are aware, then obviously we have a very strong apprenticeship program in our state, and we have an Apprenticeship Council that meets to review our progress on initiatives. I particularly appreciate the commissioner's comments and commitment that the state has to apprenticeships, and it shows. So let's see, on that update, we discussed new and expanded programs. Largely, there's targeting the public sector. We've seen wage increases up to 28% in participants over the past few years. We're expanding into rural communities. We have new occupations that are involved in the program, K through 12 teachers, and we're the first in the nation with this program. We also have student nurse apprenticeships, police officers, and we're awaiting federal approval for 3 nuclear accredited programs in Oak Ridge. Active employers is astonishing. We have 458 registered programs, in the state. It certainly speaks to the effectiveness and the effort that people are putting in. Let's see, what else? There's a lot going on here. Let's see, state certified pre-apprenticeships in 24, we had 66. In 25, 143. And then, oh goodness, awareness. We do recognize there is still a lack of awareness among a large portion of our employers, and so there's an effort to continue to address that, and that'll be an ongoing thing as new employers come into the state. We'll have to be committed to repeating the message for them. Workforce learning, some of the business incentives that we have. Workforce learning management system. This is to benefit smaller companies that it provides training for apprentices, things that they don't have a group that they have funded and dedicated inside their business to handle an apprenticeship program. The state's coming alongside them to equip them to do that. Reimbursements for training costs, there's $2,500 available for apprenticeships and $1,500 available for pre-apprenticeships. And then it was noted that in terms of registered apprentice offer a strong return on investment for businesses, and studies indicate that the average ROI is $1.44 for every dollar invested. And then that doesn't, no doubt, that doesn't address a lot of the more intangible benefits that they get around properly trained workforce and properly skilled workforce. So great update. And then the last presentation from Brianna Moore was our education and training work group. And the purpose this work group is to implement a strategic data-driven solutions that expand access to high-quality education and workforce development training for students, traditional and non-traditional, and adult learners, and employees. Our goal is to increase credential attainment and close wage gaps by aligning programs with industry needs and scaling evidence-based practices and tracking progress through measurable outcomes. Let's see, hang on a second. Good. Yes, we got partners. Yep. Current projects in progress, they are also plugged into the Tennessee Works and are aligning with that. Credentials, the Future Ready Tennessee portal, that prepares students for work. The Oxford Visit for Apprenticeship Accelerator, this is through the UT system. It's an international apprenticeship program visibility, and so it helped us understand internationally what is being done around apprenticeships and what do we have to learn from that. And then the Tennessee Higher Education Commission Master Plan. This is the new Drive to 55, if you recall that, and so that is in process, and this work group is going to be working and speaking into that. And that concludes our meeting this morning.
That sounds really good. Great updates. What questions or comments do you have for Stuart and the Operations Committee? All right. Well, I had the privilege of sitting in on the Innovation Committee this morning. So, Marshall, why don't you tell everybody else in the group what we were able to hear?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the Innovation Committee this morning, we were pleased to welcome 3 new members, David Jordan, David Stansel, and Max Goldberg, who are new to the board but also new to our committee. We talked about our committee charter. In general, the charter is about promoting a culture and encouraging innovation at our state board level, and looking for and initiating partnerships between the workforce development work and other organizations in the state. We, as part of our charter, we have this opportunity to potentially launch work groups. So this is something we're going to be thinking about in how we can do our work better. Often in innovation, we're hearing and seeing things that are just new, and as they begin to emerge. And so we did see, had a couple of presentations this morning. One, you all are familiar with the work that's been done with the UT-CIS group on the certification of this board. It's work that took place over the last couple of years. Now it's time to sort of move that work out to the local workforce boards. And so over the course, Amy Mayberry, who's our executive director of our board, presented the work that will go on with the local boards over the course of the next year as kind of a phase 2 for the work. If the work of our board certification was phase 1, then this next work will be phase 2. They'll be planning that work more fully throughout the month of June, and then beginning in July of this year, they have a program where they will work with each of the local areas to go through a certification process. Basically, the idea here is to use a 1-year timeline to work with the local boards to identify areas where there might be recommendations for long-term or short-term change or innovation for those, and really close any gaps in the oversight or the operations of those boards. And ultimately, each of those local boards would receive, as we have as a state board, a sort of a certification rating, kind of where they are in their work. So you are all familiar with that, but that will be going forward throughout the year. The other sort of general area interesting to me is that over the last year, our work here at the state and others has really focused on industry certification, and so there is $6.3 million in state funding that's been awarded to be administered by the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development. That money will be provided as grants to, for instance, our local boards or schools or other agencies for the purpose of doing non-degree credential work. What that means and kind of how that works is still kind of in the process, but basically short-term stackable credentials that enable folks to sort of advance their career, not necessarily new to their career, it may be incumbent workers. And so this piece is new. We should be having a funding opportunity later this year, something you'll want to be aware of, and certainly help promote across the state for opportunity there. Be looking for that announcement. Lastly, we looked at Tech 901 is a nonprofit, philanthropically funded organization in the Memphis area who is really doing some good work in this area of industry certification. They presented their program, which has been ongoing for about 10 years. Over the course of that 10 years, they've worked with around 1,000, I think the number's like 960 individuals in the Memphis area, and aligned those folks with various kinds of technology industry certifications. They showed us some really interesting numbers around the progression of people's careers as they kind of enter this program, maybe having no experience in technology. Fairly significant increase in opportunity and wage earning for those folks. They expect to have about 300 new trainees in their program each year going forward. And they've worked with around 418 employers in their market, really focused on high impact technology credentials. So I think that program, along with the upcoming funding from the state around non-degree credentials, really sort of indicates an emphasis of credential-oriented work that we're going to be doing, and it's really kind of innovative, I guess. So that's why we're looking at it. So that's our report for the day, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, what questions do you have for Marshall or the Innovation Committee? Okay, hearing none, I just appreciate everybody's participation and willingness to give up their regular schedules to be a part of this. It just shows how important it is to the state and how valuable our workers are to each of you. So thank you for that. Amy, any other thoughts? Okay, so do I hear a motion to get us out of here 55 minutes ahead of schedule? Thank you. Do I hear a second? All right. I'm going to say that nobody's going to object to that. So we're going to call that one passed, motion carried. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you in August.